before I get my ass handed to me. Yes, I understand the underlying themes. I, like you, took 10th grade English. And believe it or not, I'm sitting at 2 classes away from an English degree. But I'm not going to get it because it's expensive. I'm just letting you know this is the criteria. But for the sake of people who just want to watch a movie and don't want to have to read too hard into fucking things to figure out what the fuck is going on, my review is surface level. And frankly, that should be enough, because the way this movie was fucking advertised, it should look like something scurry. A ghost. A witch. If I walked into this movie having not seen my film review friends' videos and warnings about what the fuck this movie is about, I'd walk out pissed. So that's why I'm reviewing as is. Get the fuck over it. So welcome back, and once again, thank you for trusting me with your full spoiler movie review. That thing I do where I watch movies and I tell you all about them. As always, I'm unpaid and unsponsored. And spoilers, all the spoilers. If you don't want spoilers, you can go ahead and scroll. I won't be offended. Spoilers. Okay, here we go. From Blumhouse. At this point, that is a 50-50 fucking name. We have the 2025 film, The Woman in the Yard. So what's this about? So there's a woman named Ramona. She just had leg surgery and her husband died at some point after a car accident, and she is super depressed. Like, she lays in bed and watches the obligatory videos of the two of them on her cell phone together. You know, this trope has me wondering if I should have been recording my husband and I talking on my phone. Anyway, her oldest son comes in and the power's out because she didn't pay the power bill. And he's like, will you call the power company and see what's going on? But her phone died. And she's like, oh, I'm not calling the power company today. Maybe if you didn't break your phone, you could call it yourself. And then he's downstairs making breakfast for everybody. And his sister's trying to cut cheese with a knife. Then the mom yells at him again because the daughter had a knife and he wasn't watching her, even though he's over a fucking hot stove. Now, here's the deal about the death that's got me confused as fuck. She's still in a leg brace from the accident. She's still getting sympathy cards in the mail. They still have the sympathy flowers, but they're dead. And also, all her husband's shit is already packed away in boxes up in the attic. So I don't know how long it's been since the accident actually happened. And plus, the little girl seems like weirdly cool with everything. Like, both the kids seem really okay. Well, this lady in a black veil and a black dress just showed up in the yard in a chair. Just sitting there. We don't know why. And the boy was like, how'd she get here? And Ramona was like, I don't know. Who is she? I don't know. Maybe we should call the police. We can't. My phone's dead. Maybe we should get in the car and go to the neighbors, see if maybe we can call someone. No, I can't drive with my leg like this. And also, you're not going to drive because you don't have a license. I can walk over there. No, you're not going outside. She's out there. So Ramona goes out there, and she's screaming at the lady from halfway across the yard. Who are you? What do you want? What's your name? Ezekiel. And it's from the commercial, you know, today's the day. And Ramona gets all freaked out, so she goes back to the garage where the Jeep is, gets into the Jeep and tries to plug her phone in to charge it, but I guess did not know that you have to turn the Jeep on to charge the phone. So then she tries to start the Jeep, but it's been fucking sitting there, and the battery's probably dead, so it's not turning over. So she can't charge her phone. So she heads back to the house, and while she's on her way there, she noticed that all the chickens were fucking dead. And by the way, she left the dog on the chain outside. You know, obviously the lady's not gonna hurt the dog, even though the chickens just mysteriously fucking died. She goes inside, she locks the doors. The boy was like, maybe I should get Dad's gun. And she's like, no. Then there's more arguing about what they should do. And Ramona was like, just leave it alone. So they're all sitting in the living room. They're watching her through the window. The kids are being typical children, and she yells at them for being fucking annoying. She apologizes to the daughter for screaming at her, goes to give her a hug, sees herself in the mirror, stabbing the girl. Looks back, she stabbed a pillow. And then, the boy wakes up from a nap, and apparently none of that happened, but the little girl was in the kitchen, and she stepped on a piece of glass. The mom threw a coffee cup earlier when she was arguing with the boy. So he picks her up so that he can look and see what was going on. And then the mom screams at him again that he wasn't watching the little girl. And then she was mad that he put the little girl on top of the center island or whatever to look at her foot. Can you see a common thing here? 90% of this movie, surface level, is a woman yelling at her kids. And really just verbally abusing her oldest. But then the boy was like, I have had it with this goddamn woman in my goddamn yard. Locks his mom in an office and grabs his dad's gun, goes outside, points it at her, threatens to shoot her, and then the lady gets up, she takes her veil from over her head, and the woman in the yard is hot. Legitimately hot. Looks like season 1 Aunt Viv from Fresh Prince hot. And she's like, your mom lied to you about the accident your dad died in. And flashback, apparently they were arguing because they bought a farmhouse because she wanted to raise some chickens and shit and get out of the city, but then she realized she didn't like it, and everybody else was happy except her, and he's like, you gotta dig a little deeper. Which, like, what the fuck does that even mean? Well, she takes the keys, they get in the car, they're coming back from, like, a date or whatever. The woman in the yard is in their back seat, which will come back up kind of later. Not in the movie, but it'll make sense. She crashed the car, the husband died, and she broke her leg. The boy finds out, so there's a whole argument with him and his mom, and the little girl's being terrorized by the woman in the yard's, like, Peter Pan shadow thing. It can, like, move stuff, it can knock things over. At one point it picked up a knife, but doesn't actually kill anyone. Little girl screams, brother comes in running, and apparently if you shut all the curtains, her powers go away. Cause no shadow. Why'd it pick up a knife? I don't fucking know. It gets in the house, they hide in the attic, she gets in the attic, little girl goes missing, mom tries to go get her. I think it was in the gun safe or a closet. I think it was the gun safe though. There's like this weird ass hallway that takes you into like a reverse dimension where her husband is still alive. Everything is backward. It looks really sweet till he tries to kill her. And then that transported her to being the woman in the yard. Every part that was the woman in the yard, it was really Ramona. Which if she was battling something psychologically, okay. But the kids could see her. Oh, and at some point the dog was off its leash. Presumably it died. Don't know. Well, anyway, then Ramona's got the gun, and she's like, okay, we're gonna fucking finish this shit, and she made the kids go hide. And then hot Aunt Viv comes out, she's like, I've been waiting for you to hold that all day. Now, absolute warning that nobody else fucking got. The whole point of all of this, apparently, was hot Aunt Viv represents death, and Ramona's attempt at checking out of reality. That was the whole point. Today's the day. That's what they meant. And from what I gather, because you could see hot Aunt Viv in the back of the car when they did like the flashbacks to the car accident. I think Ramona was attempting that when she was fighting with her husband. I think that's where it all started. I think the car crash was an intentional thing and it failed. But now it's still there, and it's worse because she killed her husband. So hot Aunt Viv was like, your kids will have a good life, see? So she sends them down the road to walk with a flashlight to the farm that they were going to go to get help. And then she's in the attic with the gun. And again, super big warning. Super fucking big warning. The gun is placed very strategically. And then the camera drifts outside. There's no sound. And then she comes back out, and the kids are coming back from the farm, I guess. Why they were coming back at that point, I don't know. You see the sign outside of the house. It's written fine, or regularly. You see her signature down at the bottom of a painting, because apparently she paints. That wasn't actually, had to do with anything. I think it was just leftovers from an imaginary friend, but whatever. But the signature is backwards. Like the writing was in the parallel universe, so presumably I think she died. The end. Did I like it? No. The advertisement is misleading. The concept is handled carelessly. And most of the movie is just her yelling at her kids. We have no idea if she's in the parallel universe or not. I have no idea if the dog actually died or ran away because it got off the leash, but then it showed up there at the end at the fucking parallel thingy. If the woman in the yard is supposed to be herself conscious and death and all that, why does it look like hot Aunt Viv? All questions and no answers. And for all of this, I'm giving it a 0. And that sounds really harsh. I just think it was tackled negligibly. It is entirely okay to make psychological thrillers again. Just please advertise it as so. Fuck.